For nearly a century, Sears wasn't just America's largest retailer. If you needed a house, a washing machine, a lawn mower, or even a wedding ring, Sears sold it. There was a time when the Sears catalog was called the Wish Book, and before Christmas, kids would flip through it like it was scripture, circling the toys they hoped to find under the tree. So how did the most powerful retailer in the world become nearly extinct? Today, we're telling the full story: the rise of Sears, its slow and painful fall, and the company that quietly took its crown. Sears' story begins in 1886, when a young railroad agent named Richard Sears started selling watches through mail order after a local jeweler refused a shipment. He made a small fortune almost overnight. Soon after, he partnered with Alva Roebuck, and Sears, Roebuck and Company was born. Back then, most of America was rural, with no large stores nearby for millions of families. Sears solved this with a genius idea: print a catalog packed with thousands of products, let people order from home, and ship the goods to their doorstep by train. The idea exploded. By the early 1900s, Sears had become the largest retailer in the world. Their catalog grew so thick, people called it the consumer's Bible. You could order almost anything: clothes, furniture, guns, even an entire house. Yes, houses. Sears sold DIY kit homes, pre-cut lumber shipped by train and assembled by the buyers themselves. Over 70,000 of these homes were sold, and many still stand today. In 1925, Sears opened its first physical store, and as America urbanized, shopping malls across the country were built around Sears as their anchor tenant. The company grew into a true empire, launching its own insurance company, Allstate, entering real estate, creating its own credit system, and eventually building the Sears Tower in Chicago, once the tallest building in the world. By 1969, Sears alone represented over 1% of the entire U.S. economy. Just one company, contributing that much to the world's largest economy, a scale almost impossible to imagine today. Sears wasn't just a store anymore. It was a symbol of American prosperity, woven into the daily lives of millions of families who trusted it for everything from their first refrigerator to their wedding suits. But every empire has a hidden weakness, and Sears' biggest enemy wasn't a rival company. It was comfort. When you're the undisputed number one, it's easy to assume you'll always stay there. In 1962, 3 new retailers quietly opened their doors in the same year: Kmart, Target, and a small, unremarkable store in Rogers, Arkansas, founded by a man named Sam Walton, Walmart. Sears barely noticed. Why would they? Walmart was tiny, regional, and focused on small towns Sears considered unimportant. Sears' entire strategy revolved around cities, malls, and a premium brand image. Walmart's philosophy was the exact opposite: go where the big players weren't, keep prices lower than anyone else, and obsess over efficiency. This single divergence in strategy quietly set the stage for one of the biggest corporate downfalls in American business history. While Sears was busy managing malls and insurance divisions, Sam Walton was obsessed with one thing: making Walmart the most efficient retail machine in history. First was supply chain mastery. Most retailers relied on middlemen, which added cost at every step. Walmart cut them out entirely, building its own distribution centers and trucking fleet, and negotiating directly with manufacturers. Every dollar saved was passed on to customers as lower prices. Second was technology. In the 1980s, while Sears still relied on paper catalogs and manual inventory counts, Walmart had already built a private satellite network connecting every store to headquarters in real time. This let them restock instantly and avoid the inventory pileups that were crushing Sears' margins. Third was the rural strategy. Instead of fighting Sears head-on in big cities, Walmart deliberately targeted small towns with little competition, becoming the only major retailer in hundreds of towns before quietly expanding outward until it encircled the entire country. Fourth was obsessive cost discipline. Sam Walton famously flew economy class and drove an old pickup truck even as a billionaire. That frugality became company DNA, training every employee to think about cutting unnecessary costs. The results were undeniable. By 1990, Walmart's sales had overtaken Sears, and in 1991, it officially became America's largest retailer, a title Sears had held for nearly a century. It would be too simple to blame Walmart alone. Sears made a series of major mistakes that accelerated its own downfall. The first was over-diversification. Instead of doubling down on retail, Sears poured resources into insurance, real estate, and financial services, dividing management attention and capital away from its core stores. The second, and most ironic, was ignoring the internet. Sears had literally invented shopping from home through its catalog. Yet when Amazon launched in 1994, Sears leadership dismissed it as a niche bookstore website. By the time they took the threat seriously, Amazon had already built an unbeatable lead. The third was letting the stores rot. While Walmart and later Target kept reinvesting in fresh layouts and better customer experience, old Sears stores were increasingly neglected. Flickering lights, empty shelves, and outdated interiors that drove customers away. The fourth, and arguably fatal, was the Eddie Lampert era. In 2005, hedge fund manager Eddie Lampert merged Kmart and Sears into Sears Holdings and became CEO. His strategy focused on cost-cutting and selling off valuable real estate to prop up short-term financial numbers, rather than reinvesting in the stores. Some insiders even described how Lampert restructured the company into competing internal divisions that fought each other for resources instead of working as one team. It looked good on paper for a while, but it hollowed out the business from within, like eating the seed corn instead of planting it for the future. In 2018, Sears Holdings filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. A company that once represented over 1% of the entire U.S. economy was now struggling to keep its lights on. Where Sears operated over 800 major stores in the late 1980s, that number had collapsed to just a handful by the 2020s. Walmart, meanwhile, is today the largest company in the world by revenue, generating over $600 billion annually and operating more than 10,000 stores across nearly 24 countries. Two companies that started in completely different worlds, one built on catalogs and city malls, the other on small-town discount stores, ended up on opposite ends of corporate history. Sears' story teaches a simple but powerful lesson. No matter how big, iconic, or dominant a company is, if it stops innovating, ignores changing customer behavior, and loses focus on its core business, it can collapse, no matter how strong its legacy once was. Walmart didn't destroy Sears out of aggression. It simply did what Sears never managed to do: adapt relentlessly, invest in efficiency, and put the customer first, year after year, decade after decade. It's a reminder that in business, comfort is often more dangerous than competition. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, is there still a Sears store standing in your city?